Before the internet, horror lived in whispered stories, dog-eared books, and late-night campfire tales. But when the web began to take over our lives, fear followed it there. It changed shape, adapted, and began to live in message boards, blogs, and image forums. That's where the modern digital ghost story was born, the creepypasta. The word itself sounds strange, almost playful, but it comes from something simple: copy pasta, a term from the early days of the internet, meaning a block of text copied and pasted across forums or comment sections. Creepypasta was the same idea, only the text being shared wasn't a joke or a meme. It was a horror story. What made creepypastas so powerful was their simplicity. They weren't polished like novels, and they didn't come from publishers. They came from us, from anonymous writers on the internet typing in the middle of the night. And instead of being told as fiction, these stories were written to sound real. They used a plain, believable tone, a first-person voice, a found diary, a forum post, or an email from someone who'd seen something they shouldn't have. They invited you to believe, even for just a moment, that maybe this wasn't a story at all. The earliest creepypastas began appearing in the early 2000s, when sites like Something Awful, 4chan, and Reddit were still in their wild, experimental days. People began sharing short, unsettling stories that spread across the internet like urban legends once did between neighbors. You didn't need a name to write one. All you needed was a terrifying idea and a keyboard. And once someone copied your post and shared it again, it became folklore, digital folklore. One of the earliest known creepypastas was called Ted the Caver. Written in the early 2000s, it appeared on an old Angel Fire website that looked like a personal blog. The story followed a man named Ted who explored a narrow cave system and began documenting the strange events he experienced inside. Each entry grew darker, more desperate, and more terrifying until the updates suddenly stopped. There was no ending, no explanation, just silence. Readers at the time debated whether the story was real or fake, and that uncertainty was exactly what made it unforgettable. As more people began to explore online forums, creepypastas became a way for users to scare each other. People would post strange images or fake screenshots of chat logs, claiming to have found something disturbing on the web: a cursed video, a haunted game, a mysterious website that couldn't be deleted. These early creepypastas blurred the line between reality and fiction so well that some readers truly believed them. One of the first viral examples was Polybius, a story about a mysterious arcade game from the 1980s that caused players to hallucinate and suffer psychological breakdowns. The game supposedly vanished without a trace, leaving behind only rumors and a few blurry photos. The legend spread quickly, especially because no one could prove it didn't exist. It combined nostalgia, conspiracy, and fear, the three ingredients that would define internet horror for years to come. Then came the story that changed everything: Slender Man. Created in 2009 on the Something Awful forums, Slender Man began as part of a Photoshop contest. Users were asked to create paranormal images, and one user, Eric Knudsen, who went by the name Victor Surge, posted photos of children with a tall, faceless figure standing in the background. The captions told of missing kids and mysterious disappearances. It was simple, eerie, and it worked. Slender Man wasn't just a monster, he was the internet's first true myth. He spread everywhere. Within weeks, people were making videos, blogs, and entire stories based on him. Games were made, fan art flooded forums, and YouTube channels created whole narratives about his existence. Unlike traditional horror villains, Slender Man wasn't owned by a company or tied to a single story. He belonged to everyone, which made him unstoppable. Around the same time, other iconic creepypastas were being born. Jeff the Killer, the story of a boy who becomes a smiling, knife-wielding murderer, spread through websites like wildfire, especially among younger readers. Its combination of shock, violence, and tragedy made it irresistible to teens exploring horror for the first time. Smile Dog, Eyeless Jack, and Ben Drowned soon followed, each one adding new layers to the growing mythology of internet horror. What made these stories so different from traditional horror was the participation. Readers weren't just consuming the stories, they were continuing them. Fans created artwork, sequels, spin-offs, and even real-life investigations. People would search for cursed video games or try to summon entities like Jeff the Killer or the Rake. Suddenly, the internet wasn't just a place to read horror, it was a place to live it. By the early 2010s, creepypasta had gone mainstream. YouTube narrators began reading these stories aloud, giving them new life with eerie music and atmosphere. Channels dedicated entirely to creepypasta storytelling became massive, turning once anonymous forum posts into iconic modern legends. Websites like the Creepypasta Wiki collected and preserved thousands of these tales, organizing them like a library of digital campfire stories. And then came a turning point: Marble Hornets. Inspired by Slender Man, this YouTube series told the story of a man uncovering lost film footage from a student project that had gone horribly wrong. It was shot like found footage, shaky, realistic, and unsettling. The series blurred the line between fiction and reality so convincingly that many believed it was real. It became one of the first major examples of ARG horror, alternate reality storytelling, that spills out of fiction and into the real world. Creepypasta had grown beyond simple text. It had evolved into a multimedia phenomenon. Horror games like Slender, The 8 Pages, Five Nights at Freddy, and The Back Rooms owe their success to the same DNA: ordinary settings twisted by mystery and fear, told in a way that feels just real enough to believe. But as the years passed, creepypasta began to change again. Many of the original sites that hosted them grew quiet, replaced by new platforms like Reddit's No Sleep, a community where users share first-person horror stories written as if they were true. While the tone became more polished, the heart remained the same. Ordinary people still sit behind their screens, writing about strange noises in the night, cursed websites, and things that exist just outside the reach of our understanding. What makes creepypastas endure isn't just their scares, it's the connection they create. Each story feels like it could happen to anyone, to you, to a friend, to someone who once posted a story online and disappeared. They remind us that fear doesn't need a movie budget or a famous author. Sometimes, it just needs a keyboard, an internet connection, and someone willing to say, "This really happened." Creepypastas are the ghost stories of the digital age. They're proof that even as the world becomes more logical, we still crave the thrill of mystery. We still want to believe that the internet hides things we were never meant to see. And in a way, that belief has made these stories immortal. They live in screenshots, in rouploads, in fragments on long-forgotten websites. They never really die, they just wait for someone new to discover them. Maybe that's the scariest part of all, because somewhere out there, buried deep in an old forum or an abandoned archive, there's another story waiting. One no one's read yet, one that might just become the next legend. So the next time you stumble across a strange post or a mysterious video that shouldn't exist, remember, every creepypasta began with someone saying, "You won't believe this, but..." And from there, the story writes itself. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the origins of creepypastas, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more explorations into the dark corners of the internet. And tell me in the comments, which creepypasta was the first one that really scared you?